Alert, breaking, storm tracker. The National Hurricane Center is tracking two systems in the Atlantic. One could become a tropical depression. Oh, yeah. Also, mystery drones. They're surveilling America's most sensitive military sites, and the Pentagon says it can't stop them. New York Post. I'm going to share with you data. We're going to look at reports like the testing that was done on this strange material, this alloy metal, which is allegedly from a UFO crash from 1947. We're going to look at the analysis. Is it alien? What is it? You want to stay tuned for that. Also, North Korea blows up roads in an act of anger because South Korea allegedly flew a drone over the capital of NK. Yeah, listen to this. AP News. North Korea blows up parts of inter-Korean road and rails links in a symbolic display of being upset. Anger. They're mad. And this might interest you. Remember the Georgia Guidestones? Well, we found another set. It's a replica, and it's in Japan. I'm going to show you the images. We're going to look directly at it. So, Halo, real quick, there's a revolution happening right now above our heads. It's about to make silver more precious than ever. The sun's power is taking over the world. It's growing so fast, it'll be the biggest source of electricity by the 2030s. Solar. Oh, yeah. Here's the kicker. Every single solar panel needs silver to work. We're talking about a silver paste web in every panel, turning sunlight into power. Smart investors are already making their move, and that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. If you go to leapprojectgold.com, Noble Gold with the silver IRA, you can surf this incredible wave of growth. It doesn't matter who sits in the White House or what Wall Street does. Oh, yeah. Solar power is unstoppable, and silver is the secret weapon. As the world goes green, your retirement could see the silver lining. Don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers in 2024. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com or leapprojectgold.com. Get the free ebooks, How to Get Out of the Rat Race, countless 5-star reviews, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Noble Gold is the gold company that I trust. And if you qualify, this is super cool, you'll be gifted 10 ounces of solid silver. You could go with this 10-ounce solid silver American flag bar or 10 1-ounce silver Trump rounds. Call up Noble Gold Investments today, 1-877-646-5347. And let's get back to the podcast. So interesting, the location, the information, the whole aura behind the Georgia Guidestones. Some people think they're amazing. Some people think they're written by the devil. And some people have no idea. So we're going to talk about it. And also, what's going on in Wyoming? What about all those wildfires? Are they wildfires? Well, there's a lot of information and disinformation about these fires in Wyoming. So I'm going to share with you an article from USA Today. I did some research myself where they're actually located in comparison to these sites that, anyway, we'll get to it in a minute. But here's the name of the title. Viral post misleads about Wyoming fires, rare earth minerals, fact check. This is from USA Today. The claim all major Wyoming wildfires are burning on privately owned land near site of rare earth metal discovery is false. The Instagram post also shows a video of a man speaking to the camera about the fires, saying at one point that these major fires are all in the privately owned sectors of the state. It echoes claims widely spread by former CBS News reporter Laura Logan and other users on X, suggesting the fires are part of a land grab. The article says it's false. The post is wrong on multiple fronts. The major wildfires in Wyoming are burning national forests, not private land, and they are hundreds of miles from the spot where the minerals were found. There's no evidence to support land grab conspiracy theory. Firefighters in Wyoming have been battling two massive blazes that, as of October 14th, have combined to burn more than 160,000 acres The Pack River fire, which broke out September 15th with a lightning strike and then merged with another blaze, has burned in excess of 75,000 acres. Another lightning strike 12 days later started the Elk Fire, which has burned more than 85,000 acres. Then the Post mischaracterizes the locations of the fires. The Post misleads with its assertion that the fires are near both Wheatland, Wyoming, and the lode of minerals found in the area. The city and the discovery site are both in the state's southeastern corner, but Elk Fire is more than 200 miles northwest of the lode, near the northern border with Montana. Christy Thompson, the Forest Service's public information officer for the Elk Fire, characterized that blaze as not near the mining site in a conversation with USA Today. The Pack Trail Fire is even farther away in western Wyoming, more than 250 miles northwest of where the minerals were found. There you go. Okay. Next article. Storm tracker tracking 2 systems in Atlantic. One could become tropical depression. The NHC said Tuesday it's tracking 2 systems in the Atlantic Ocean, one that could strengthen into a tropical depression later this week, currently designated as Invest 94L. What the does that mean? Somebody on the inside has to know what that means. That's got to mean, anyway, right? Like Invest 94L. What are you telling people, man, without telling them? Was described by the Hurricane Center as a well-defined area of low pressure located over the central tropical Atlantic that is currently producing occasional showers and thunderstorms. Forecasters said the system remains embedded in a dry air environment and that developments is unlikely over the next couple of days, but that the system is forecast to move generally westward and environmental conditions are expected to become more favorable by the middle to latter part of this week. A tropical depression could form as the system begins moving northwestward and approaches or moves near the Leeward Islands later this week. The NHC said the system has a 60% chance of formation through the next 7 days. Oh, I'll bet Florida and those along the coast are happy to hear about that. Now, this is very, very interesting. I'm really surprised when, because I've done some videos on this, and I would think that this would be a video that would get tens of thousands of views, at least, right? I mean, something like this really should get hundreds of thousands of views. It's a really big deal. The problem is there's so many extraordinary claims out there that people are more interested in hearing about some ridiculous fairy tale about extraterrestrials. And some of the stories that I've heard, folks, trust me, I've been doing this a long time. There are some ridiculous stories out there that people just cling to. There's no evidence, there's no data to suggest it, but people just cling to it. And when you have the military coming out and basically admitting that there are swarms of these mysterious drones that will recon places like Langley, super top secret facilities in California, nuclear facilities. They'll observe, they'll track, and they'll disappear and they'll take off. And this is happening on a regular basis. Well, the War Zone News has been reporting on this substantially, and they're doing a great job, in my opinion. When I picked up a couple of their articles a couple of days ago and then talked about it. And then yesterday, the New York Post comes out with an article, UFO drones are surveilling America's most sensitive military sites, and the Pentagon says it can't stop them. Fleets of dozens of mysterious UFO drones are surveilling America's most sensitive military sites, and the Pentagon admits it can't do much to stop the aerial intruders, according to a new report. Drones of unknown origin have been spotted flying over military bases in Virginia and Nevada over the past year, including secret bases for Navy's elite SEAL Team 6 Commando Unit and Naval Station Norfolk, the world's largest naval port, the Wall Street Journal reports. Federal laws, however, prohibit the military from shooting down the drones over the potential risk to troops and civilians. Okay. Jamming their signals was also ruled out in high-level White House meetings, according to the Journal, over concerns that it could interfere with 9/11 systems, Wi-Fi networks, and commercial airliners. Now, I want to ask you a question. Do you believe that? Do you believe? So I get that they don't want to interfere with 9/11 systems and they don't want to interfere with Wi-Fi networks and commercial airliners. That makes sense. Absolutely, I absolutely get that. So there are some pretty serious safety concerns there, especially in an area like Langley and some of these military facilities as well, because they're working right next to. Um, I mean, anyway. So look at this from the New York Post. A 26-year-old Chinese national took photos of a classified Navy shipyard in Virginia in January. Oh, that's lovely. I'm just taking photos for my photo book, you know. I want to share them with family and friends, man. I want to be like, look what I saw. It was amazing. I was on vacation and I just appeared, you know. Anyway, it was just a coincidence. But I have a question. Like, if you're dealing with a location that has F-22s and super high technology, top secret technology, would you think that there would be some type of means necessary to stop these recon drones from observing you at that proximity? I mean, satellite imagery is one thing, but to be that close and observing and for that long with that many different drones, I would think of a multitude of safety concerns. So I just find it very interesting that allegedly the military can't do anything about it because of federal laws. Well, could there be a unit designed outside of the military for security for the military for that purpose because of what's going on? Because think of the information that they're obtaining. I mean, this is remarkable. The result is that the Pentagon has little recourse to halt the potential surveillance from foreign adversaries. Former U.S. Air Force General Mark Kelly was first made aware of the drone sightings in December 2023. Officials at Langley Air Force Base along the Virginia coast reported seeing dozens of drones flying over the base at night, according to the Wall Street Journal. Base, as I brought up the other day, home to the F-22 Raptor fighter jets. The drones continue to appear over the course of 17 days. Officials suspected they might have been deployed by Russia or Chinese agents to spy on American military assets. Now, what's scarier? Letting drones spy on top secret craft that are from Russia or China or from outer space. Snooping does not constitute an imminent threat. The military is prohibited by law from shooting down the drones. Well, if it's on top security, like what if an American citizen was to go in there and do that? They would be arrested immediately, would they not? I mean, a directed jamming attack also had the potential to interfere with commercial aircraft near the peak of the holiday travel season, one FAA official warned. Analog tactics were also unsuccessful as local police aiding in the investigation would lose sight of the drones during the midnight chases, the WSJ reported. The drone sightings ended December 23rd, with officials still unsure as to where they came from and who was operating them. I wish we could talk to the police and the law enforcement that were chasing these things. They're probably under a gag order or, you know, like they probably can't talk about it. But if they could, they can. Give me a call. I would love to hear about what's going on. I'm sure so many other people would as well. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Given the complexity of the operation and the number of drones that are flying in coordination, authorities had ruled out the possibility that amateur drone pilots were behind the sightings. A clue arrived the following month when a Chinese student studying at the University of Minnesota was caught flying a drone near Langley Base on January 6th. The student, Fengyun Shi, had gotten his drone stuck in a tree, which he appeared to abandon when he flew to California the following day. Yeah, but what kind of drone was it? They're not showing us these drones. I want to see what these drones look like. You need to show us what the drones look like. But you probably won't because there's probably some type of classified intel there. So I don't know. Speculation here. The drone fell from the tree the same day. Then the FBI got it. They found the drone had photographed Navy ships docked at the base. She was arrested a week later as he was about to board a one-way flight to China, with prosecutors charging him with unlawfully taking photos of classified naval installations, the first such case involving a drone, according to the Wall Street Journal. Magistrate Judge Lawrence Leonard dismissed Xi's claim that he was just a student on vacation, flying a drone for fun, with Xi pleading guilty to the espionage charges on October 2nd. I was just having some fun, man. Come on. I was like, dude, where else am I going to fly my drone? Oh, right there, that classified. Yeah, that's. Oh, it'll be okay. If he was a foreign agent, he would be the worst spy ever known, Xi's attorney told the WSJ. So, along with incidents in Virginia, U.S. officials have confirmed similar swarms of drones had been recently spotted near Edwards Air Force Base in Nevada. And the Defense Department has yet to publicly state who's behind the surveillance drones. Aliens? Or our adversaries? Or are they us from the future? Or is it just somebody's? I mean, I want to know. Like, show us what these drones look like, because there's so much mystery behind this. Now, this is fascinating. Okay, so let's get into this. Buckle up for this. Now, obviously, take it with a pinch of salt here, because it's from the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, and this is pretty cool. In 2022, the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office contracted with Oak Ridge National Laboratory to conduct materials testing on a magnesium alloy specimen. This specimen has been publicly alleged to be a component recovered from a crashed extraterrestrial vehicle in 1947. It exhibits extraordinary properties, allegedly, like functioning as a terahertz waveguide to generate anti-gravity capabilities. In April 2024, ORNL produced a summary of findings documenting the laboratory's methodology to assess this specimen's elemental and structural characteristics. So you ready to see what it is? You ready? Let's go. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can do that. I'll leave the link. But once again, this is allegedly from a crash, a UFO crash from 1947. It's supposed to have this terahertz technology to allow it anti-gravity capabilities. AARO concurs with ORNL's findings that the specimen's isotopic composition indicates terrestrial origin. AARO also concurs with ORNL's findings that its physical and elemental properties are incompatible with functioning as a terahertz waveguide. Considering all available evidence, AARO assesses that the specimen is likely a test object, a manufacturing product or byproduct, or a material component of aerospace performance studies to evaluate the properties of MG alloys. So it is some type of interesting alloy, and most likely was used in possibly a classified aerospace program. But it's not anti-gravity, and it's not alien, most likely, according to AARO. Now, once again, I said take it with a grain of salt. You know, you've got your own, you're going to have your own ideas and think your own thoughts, but it is interesting, and I would be more surprised if it was alien, unfortunately. I want to believe, folks. I want to believe more than you know. I've had my own experiences. I've mentioned them many times. Friends and family that have had experiences with things that aren't human. But are they aliens? Are they from Zeta Reticuli? I mean, I don't know. And neither do they. But this is interesting because it does seem like some high-tech alloy at the time that they found, and you can read all about it in this paper. Now I'll read you the conclusion from here. AARO secured ORNL to independently assess the requirements necessary to confirm or contest public claims that this historical specimen is of non-terrestrial origin, and that it is capable of functioning as a bismuth-based terahertz waveguide. Although the origin, chain of custody, and ultimate purpose of this specimen remain unclear, a modern and robust analysis of its chemical and structural composition and properties does not indicate that its origin is non-terrestrial, nor do the data indicate that the material examined ever had the pure single crystalline bismuth layer that could possibly have acted as a terahertz waveguide. So now we know how to make something with terahertz technology, just bismuth crystalline. Cool. The intended or actual past use of the material remains undetermined, but ORNL has a high level of confidence that all data indicate the material was manufactured terrestrially, albeit using an uncommon mixture of elements by today's standards, and then incurred damage caused by mechanical and heat stressors. So this could be a piece of an experimental craft. Absolutely. And it could be a piece of an alien craft. Maybe. Pretty cool, nonetheless. And I'll leave the link so you can go into that in more detail and look through that. And North Korea blows up parts of inter-Korean road and rail links in a symbolic display of anger. They're mad. So this is from AP News. In a symbolic display of anger, North Korea on Tuesday blew up the northern sections of unused road and rail routes that once linked it with South Korea, with the rivals exchanging threats days after the North claimed that South flew drones over its capital, Pyongyang. Isn't it amazing how every election cycle, North Korea and South Korea, it seems like the tensions rise, and then we got to worry about North Korea launching nukes at us, and we got to worry about Kim Jong-un. And it's like, I've seen this every election cycle now for at least 3 elections. It's like, oh, let's cue the deer. Did you see that movie where they're trying to sell a house? And so like these people come look at a house, like, oh, get the deer. And they're like, look, honey, it's a deer. Cue the deer. I mean, clearly, I'm not saying this stuff isn't going on. It's just, it seems like the news talks about it more during election cycles. That's just my observation and my opinion. And you know what they say about opinions? Observers say it's unlikely Kim will launch a preemptive large-scale strike on South Korea because of fear that an almost certain massive retaliation by the more superior forces of the United States and South Korea would threaten Pyongyang's survival. You're probably right. In response to the explosion, South Korea Joint Chief of Staff said its military fired warning shots within southern sections of the border as it bolstered its readiness and surveillance posture. The statement did not give details, but the move could have been an attempt to avert cross-border fire by North Korea. Oh, yeah. And almost forgot, you got to see this. The Georgia Guidestones in Japan. Yeah. Hello. So I want to thank Rob Dissner, slept here on YouTube, because I found this video after there was a news article about the replica of the Georgia Guidestones are up in Japan. I'm like, whoa. So I checked it out, and I was able to find it because of this guy on Google Maps. So here we are, Google Maps in Japan, Takamatsu, Japan, literally street view. Here's a replica of the Georgia Guidestones, and its location, it's supposed to have some parallels to where the Georgia Guidestones were erected. And there's a bunch of symbology and symbols and artwork around this area. So I really don't sense any nefarious, like, I read through the Georgia Guidestones, and I gotta say, like, other than the top that says keep humanity at 500 million or less, like, I think that a lot of stuff makes sense on there. And first of all, the Georgia Guidestones aren't saying reduce the population. It's just saying keep population at a certain number. So maybe it's there in case something happens, like a cataclysm, like remember the dinosaur, stuff like that. Maybe something might happen in the future. And then the people that survive come out of caves, come out of their bunkers, and they're like, oh, look, there's the words, and yeah, I mean, they're going to speak all these different languages, right? And they're going to, I mean, clearly it's symbolic, but it's interesting. It's interesting. And I can see why it's controversial. And you could take any one of these guides from the Guidestones, any one of these, guide 1, number 2, number 3. Like, you could take any one of them and say, oh, I could see that being good. Or you could say, oh, I could see that being bad. It's all about perception. It's all about the people that are keeping the rules or making enforcing the rules, enforcing the laws. Like, how are you going to enforce those laws? How are you going to enforce these rules? But it is literally sitting up right now in Japan. And I think it's kind of cool. So don't be a hater. It's all about love, man. Love. Love and peace, man. I'm going to stop right now. Okay, we went over the Wyoming wildfires, we went over the Georgia Guidestones. What do we got now? Here, let's do my little. So there's the Guidestones. You can see, boom, right there. Ding. Right off the main road. Buy some other art. Is it the Illuminati? Probably not. But you never know. This is their budget. Their budget Guidestone. Like, we spent so much on the other ones. Man, if you look up the numerology, it is wow. Like, we're talking some, you know how The Simpsons has this eerie way of coming up with the cartoon, and then years later, something similar seems to mirror what happened in the Simpsons cartoon. And there's a lot of conspiracy theories as to why, and I don't know, but it's interesting. Well, certain numerology and is like, wow, if you can get down that rabbit hole way deep, and maybe sometimes a little too deep. So what's that song? By Edie Brickell. Shove me into that shallow water before I get too deep. This is KTSM.com. What $35 trillion in U.S. national debt means for Americans. The national debt equates to $266,000 per American household. Yeah, let that sink in. The national debt could grow by $7.5 trillion over 10 years under Trump. It could grow by $3.5 trillion over the next 10 years under Harris. Oh. Now, the article goes on to say, the United States currently carries nearly $35.7 trillion in federal debt, which is only expected to grow regardless of whether former President Donald Trump or Vice President Kamala Harris is elected next month, political analysts believe. So the part that got me was the $266,000 per American household. Wow. But don't worry, folks. They love you so much. They love you. It's all about equality. I'm going to fly around the world with my private jets and tell people we need more equality. Oh, and they'll believe me. They believe everything we say. Anyway, the new Indian Express, 34 countries, including Palestine, Syria, and Myanmar, apply for BRICS membership. Speculations are rife that PM Modi will have a bilateral meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the summit. 34 countries have officially applied for BRICS membership. The 10 new members and 10 partners will be announced in the upcoming BRICS summit in Kazan to be held between October 22nd and the 24th of October. Strife-torn nations like Palestine, Syria, and Myanmar have also applied for the membership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the summit, turning it to be his second visit to Russia within a span of 3 months. Strife-torn nations like Palestine, Syria, and Myanmar have also applied for membership. There are nearly 34 countries who have communicated to BRICS for being considered as new members. These include Algeria, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Honduras, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Kuwait, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Morocco, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Pakistan, Senegal, South Sudan, Sri Lanka, State of Palestine, Syria, Thailand, Turkey, Uganda, Uzbekistan, Venezuela, Vietnam, and Zimbabwe, according to sources The 10 partners to be announced will not have rights like permanent members, but in all likelihood will become permanent members by the next summit, it added. There's a speculation that Colombia wanted to be considered, but there has also been no official communication from it. The 10 current members of BRICS are Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. Folks, let that sink in for a minute. Iranian President Mossad Pezeshkian is expected to be present, which will be his first visit to Russia since he assumed office. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan is attending the summit. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres will be attending the summit as well. Meanwhile, Kremlin has said that leaders from nearly 24 nations are likely to take part in the upcoming summit. Sounds like a pretty big deal. So now, no wonder. Other nations are considering other forms of exchange when there's 34 plus trillion in debt, and just the inflation on the debt to pay back the debt is approximately $1 trillion every 100 days. So you've got big banks usurping gold and silver and precious metals, like by the tons. Big banks are buying tons of gold, literally. Just some quick news. As BRICS accumulate gold, Western banks continue to short sell, the Jerusalem Post. Reuters, central banks remain keen buyers of gold. Central bankers make rare comments in favor of bigger gold stash, Bloomberg.com. Silver is hot. CNBC, gold prices could keep climbing, but analysts expect silver to steal the show before long. And just so you know, BRICS will most likely go for a gold-backed currency called a unit. The unit includes 40% gold, and then the 60% balance is made up of participating BRICS currencies, which are convertible into gold. No one currency has a greater than 30% weight in gold terms. And so that's one of the reasons people speculate you have these big banks just usurping as much gold as they're buying more gold than, anyway. Lots and lots of gold. Where's me gold? Where's me gold? Shove me into that shallow water before I get too deep. Shove me into the shallow water before I get too deep. Eddie Brickell. Edie Brickell. Amazing artist. Am I digressing? I have a meeting to get to, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. Hit the bell. Be well. Be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see. Special effects. This was the big.